Hi, welcome to the Freeman Conversations. Aristotle once said, "Good habits formed in youth make all the difference." I'm Jobert Okaw and welcome to this back to school program, and where we get to talk to student leaders from different institutions, academic institutions in Cebu. And joining us today are the student council presidents from Southwestern University Phinma and the Cebu Normal University. We have from Southwestern University, Joseph Christian Armido. He's a law student, a nurse by profession,
yes,
and many other things, which we'll be talking about. And from CNU, we have Anne Marion Judilia. How do you pronounce this? Judilia, their SSC president. She is a student at the College of Education. Thank you very much both for being here. But before we go to our discussion, we just like to, you might be wondering what these trophies here are doing in front. These are actually the awards and recognitions that Freeman received from the Department of Environment and Natural Resources in the 2018 Gawad Tugas. So we would like to congratulate our colleagues in the Freeman, and we'd like to say thank you to DENR for these recognitions. DENR gives 4 recognitions to the Freeman Environmental Story of the Year, from mining site to tourism park, the Environmental Journalist of the Year, our colleague May Miasco, Environmental Publisher of the Year, and a special citation for promoting environmental awareness by publishing meaningful infographics. Thank you very much to DENR for this recognition. Okay, maybe we can set these trophies aside for now. Thank you guys. Okay, so back to regular programming. Thank you again for being here, Joseph and Anne. Okay, before we go to your programs and projects and the SSC, we'd like to, of course, I think my first question have to be, why the SSC? What brought you to student service and student governance?
Ladies first, or me?
Sure, ladies first. Always the number one goal in society, right?
To be honest, I have already been in student service for a couple of years since I was in elementary. And what brought me in CNU is that I think there's a greater...
What positions did you occupy in elementary?
I was also like the secretary, and then I was also once a president in of course, we always start in the classrooms, and then we go to the SSC already. And in high school, I have also been a part of many extracurricular clubs. So I have been a leader in our SAT unit. Aside from that, in our publication, because I also do write.
Okay.
And
where did you go to elementary?
St. Louis College, Cebu,
and
formerly known as St. Louis.
Okay. High school?
Same
school,
yes.
Okay. And eventually CNU now?
Yes, eventually CNU now. So actually before, I also started ang suga. But because as what I mentioned earlier, I love writing. But there's always a part of me which says that I'm more for action rather than just speaking or writing.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
I'm more of translating. What I really love to do is to be in service. So why student service? Because I found fulfillment in it. And as what I said, it's like it has been a part of me ever since then already.
And of course, you cannot be in both at the same time.
Yes, I cannot serve 2 masters at the same time.
Well, aside from serving 2 masters, it will also be a conflict of interest.
Yes.
Yeah, because the student publication will have to be independent and watching at your every move.
Yes, that's true.
That's true. Okay, what about Joseph?
Same with my friend from CNU. I started my duties even younger years during elementary. But my position back then was only Prince Charming. Just kidding aside. Kidding aside. So officer then throughout high school, but it changed or somehow I lost interest when I went to my college because of nursing. It's very tasking. At the same time, we have different schedules. For example, even on our second years, we have already our duties. So I could not really attend if I wanted to be on our SBO or student body organization.
Very time consuming.
Yes. Yeah, very time consuming, and the need for attending duties at the same time, attending classes, and you have your extracurricular activities. So I could not really give my full time, especially I don't want to shortchange my constituents, but if I really wanted to run. So yeah, I lost my interest, or I didn't run for any position during my college years. But when I took up my master's degree, suddenly gave me passion to serve again, because like opening, like being leader, like I had my master's degree in nursing. My course, my major is nursing service administration, so I'm in the administrative aspect. So I have a bigger, or like a wider sense of being a leader. That's why like by then I ran for, or like was elected as the governor of the graduate school in Southwest University.
But in the undergrad, you never got involved even in the nursing organization?
Yes, I only had involvement in a certain club, but it's spiritual club.
Okay.
Spiritual organization. I was the leader by then, because I was somehow inclined into our the worship team, in our church.
Yeah.
So I created a youth organization. Just that.
Okay. And eventually, okay, because you're a man of many components. You're nursing, because we were talking off cam, and this is how we found this out. You were a nursing graduate.
Yes.
You also proceeded to take up a master's in nursing, and after that you took up a PhD.
PhD or EDD, Doctor of Education.
Yeah, Doctor of Education.
Then
Eventually you decided you might want to get in law school.
Yes. Very confusing.
When you took up your PhD, what was in your mind? What was your concentration for PhD?
Leadership. Like my doctorate degree, or major in doctorate degree, is educational leadership and management.
Okay.
So the reason I decided to take up doctorate in education by then, it's because I was in the academy. I was teaching on the students in the College of Nursing when it comes to the Master of Arts in Nursing program. So as a nurse, of course, we're not trained to be a teacher. We're trained to handle or take care of patients. So back when I mentioned I don't want to shortchange my constituents, same with my students. Like I don't have the trainings or the proper the title, the trainings to be a teacher. That's why, since I'm in the academy, why not teach myself or give the rightful title?
Technical know-how.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
That's why how I entered into education.
So how did you get to run for SSC president? This will be the same question to you afterwards.
The election, there will be just any.
And law school is also very taxing,
yes,
time consuming.
Yeah. For the setup in Southwest University, anyone can run. The only requirement is, of course, to be a bona fide student and at least a year of residency.
Okay.
That's it. So then the rest of the colleges might set up different qualifications. Like, for example, they should not have failing grades, or they should be that maybe preferred by their deans or teachers. Because I heard there are colleges that they have to submit the short list or the list of the before running. Then the deans or teachers na we should not allow this guy because he has several failing grades, so he or she could not focus on teaching or leading, or could not be a good role model.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So what made you say yes to the presidency?
Before
being president, did you occupy any other position in the student council?
Not yet. So from the grad school vacation until my second year in as a student, law student.
Okay.
So I ran because like many of my friends knew that I had somehow the leader na quality ba. So they pushed me, and some of my friends, or even the SSC or SSG na incumbent, they wanted me to run para like straighten up or at least continue their programs. So I thought, yes, why not? Because I'm a full-time student as a law school, so I could give focus on dealing with issues or handling concerns of our students.
In Southwestern, are student political parties active?
Yes, I would say so.
Okay.
I would say so.
Okay. Let's go to Anne. How did you say yes? Prior to the presidency, what other positions did you occupy in other organizations or even SSC?
Actually, sir, last year, before I ran for presidency, I was elected as a House Representative.
Okay.
Coming from my council, also my college department. So, what made me say yes? But before that, I would also like to exclaim, just like what he said, what Sir Joseph said, that we actually have the same set of requirements for presidency, but what differs us is that instead our deans or teachers would check if this specific student is allowed to run in the position or not. Our co-students would be the one to assess us.
How?
Because we have a autonomous also organization, which is a unified COMELEC,
Okay.
which is also composed by the students only.
Yeah, so these are COMELEC rules,
Yes.
the guidelines
Yes, sir.
for those who can run for
Yes,
the
sir.
position. Yeah, but I think it's just fair that those who are running for the biggest student organization in campus or in academic institutions must also be able to not only excel in extracurricular but also in academics.
Yes, that's true.
Because you are role models,
Yes, that's
so
true.
to speak. And if you're not able to do that, how can other students who are not in position
Yes.
look up to you?
Yes, that's true.
Right? Okay, so now you were elected. Congratulations on your election as SSC president. What are your priority programs or projects?
I think this time it's my turn.
Sure.
So I have list of activities for this whole school year, but for my number 2 priority program, I would like to create or draft a Magna Carta for students for Southwest University Phinma. Magna Carta, as we know, it's still pending in a national setting. So I wanted to, I have good friends with San Carlos, and they created this Magna Carta for students in San Carlos. So I wanted to replicate that activity because with Magna Carta, we strengthen the powers of the student. It's like the bylaws, but more detailed. At the same time, we have more power for those people. We bully power when it comes to creating activities, power to somehow reprimand or the administrators or the teachers or faculty who went beyond their duties.
Okay. Have you started with this project?
Now, I have a draft since I was able to attend the summit with the group of SSG presidents last year with the under our Cebu Youth Development Council under the program of our Mayor Tomaso. I had a draft with that, and that's one of my priority projects right now. So I already talked with my governors, and yes, they are up to it, but we have to settle first the series of activities starting for the school year because I don't want them to focus or somehow not be guided with our Magna Carta. So I wanted to focus yet in creating activities, and maybe by mid of this school year or end of maybe September or October, we'll be able to start the drafting.
Okay.
Next activity would be I'm partnering with our linkages because I think it's not just true to Southwest University. I think it's the nation problem when it comes to our graduates. We don't have our graduates, yes, they may have finished a very prestigious degree or course. However, after that, they end up I'm not discriminating call center, but they go to this works because they don't have a work which is somehow connected with their
aligned with their
courses. That's why one of my projects would be strengthening the linkages with our alumni and other corporate world so that we could attend the need of employment by our students. Though I feel that this is the part of the job of our school administrator, from enrollment to employment, but as their kuya or SHG president, I would like to strengthen that. I would like to make sure that my students or my constituents would have a better future when it comes to
And I think you can also partner with, I'm sure the university has an office for
for the linkages,
for linkages, alumni affairs. Yes. But that's a good point to make because definitely that's not a concern that's exclusive to Southwestern. Many students from other schools also considering, because of lack of opportunities, they end up in jobs that, number one, not aligned with their course, and also jobs that they don't necessarily like or not their priority. Okay, that's nice. What about
actually, these two student programs, which I would introduce to you, sir, are actually already being practiced inside our premises. So first is the International Youth Day. So just like the Youth Day that we annually celebrate in the world, we also have this International Youth Day wherein we most primarily do this on the months at the start of the school. So what is this International Youth Day? Basically, we tackle different student advocacies, student-centered advocacies in this program. And what we do is we invite keynote speakers, resource speakers, who are really inclined towards these kinds of advocacies, like environmental advocacy, social awareness advocacies, and
experts in the field,
experts
or
in
the advocacies.
Yes, sir. And we also invite, of course, we invite students not only in CNU, but we also invite students as well coming from different universities, so that we have this like open discussion wherein we can share simultaneously our ideas or whatever our perspective with towards this advocacy. So
what advocacies are you eyeing at, focusing?
We're more on social awareness advocacies, and aside from that is also the environmental advocacies.
Okay.
Yes, and apart from that is, as what Sir Joseph mentioned earlier, like the mental awareness, mental health awareness. Yes, we're also starting it right now. So
why is it called the International Youth Day? Why is it international?
Oh, International Youth Day, because we don't just select advocacies which we like. We select these advocacies which we tackle in our International Youth Day, which are patterned in the International Youth Day that is being celebrated.
So you will mirror the advocacies that are tackled there.
Yes.
In CNU.
Yes, but we will make sure that these advocacies are actually these are bagay. Yes, these are more bagay or more suitable for the students in CNU.
Yeah, because it would be very ironic if you are tackling topics that may not be reflective of the situations and conditions in your campus. Yeah, but now you can extend the invitation to Southwest.
You'll be there.
Okay, let's backtrack a bit to when you were campaigning for the position. What were the challenging aspects of the campaign? How was it, or if it was difficult, how difficult was it to convince the students to vote for you and to believe in your platform?
Ladies first. Okay, so the challenge was, first of all, it was the first time that CNU had three parties, three different parties this year. So it was already our culture, and we were at most prepared that there would only be two parties. But since there were three parties created by the political science party, so it seems like for me, my part, it's a lot more pressure, because I need to be more on hand, like that, like more prepared of what is coming forward. Of course, with the questions that they're going to throw at me or they're going to ask me, most especially that I was an incumbent officer.
Okay.
So I was more prepared that time. Aside
that
from that, yes, sir.
Okay.
So aside from that is the preparation which I did is just very simple. I believed in myself. First of all, it's very important, because I think if you're going to run as a student leader, supreme student president, of course, it's very important that you first believe in yourself, right? Rather than people believing in you. Because if you believe in yourself, then that's the start of everything else, that you know that you can, and you can fulfill whatever else is coming around you for the rest of the years to come.
Okay. What about Joseph?
It's my second term, so I really don't have a problem when it comes to like marketing myself, because like my projects.
This is your second term as president?
Yes.
I see. Okay.
So that's why I was able to attend the summit last year.
I see.
SST or Student Leaders per College.
Okay.
So this is my second term, and luckily I don't really have a hard time as well as to market myself to the students. Because I have projects, and I don't have issues like corruption or the problems when it comes to like not answering.
Good for you.
Yeah. So I don't really have a problem. And at the same time, I only have one opponent. Which is I have an edge. I'm not discriminating him, but he's at the college level. Yeah. So I have an advantage of, like, for example, on my credentials, and
the equity of the incumbent was already an
yes,
advantage.
it's already an advantage on me. And on my vice president, he didn't have any like opponent, so good for him. The opponent running president is independent party.
Okay.
So wala siya
Following or something.
wala siya group of people who could somehow support or then that's my advantage.
A support system.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so my question will now have to be, what made you decide to run the second time around?
As I mentioned, it's the continuation of my projects or how I wanted Southwestern University to be represented on the not just on the regional basis but on a nationwide basis, because I wanted to empower at the same time make Southwestern known not just as like the previous Southwestern, but how Phinma wanted it to be tagged, like being the best that you can be.
Yeah, what's your tagline?
Being the best that you can be. Be the best that you can be. So it's not really
The best you.
Yeah, the best you. Hashtag the best you. So that's what I wanted to Southwestern University students to be at.
Okay.
After my term, I wanted to create a legacy, because that's
one year wasn't enough.
Yeah, for me, like
yes,
1 year
one
would
year
not
is
be enough. Even for our national president, 6 years is not enough. So as for me, and even my colleges or my governors would run, because for me, I really wanted to focus on my studies, third year, because it's like
Law school is not
easy.
Law school is a jealous mistress. You have to focus. So since I'm like, why not? So I have a good support with. I know my vice president right now, and the setup of my.
Is this the same vice president?
No.
Okay.
New, the College of Medicine by this time, but I knew that he could help me, assist me, and even the setup of the school system or the SBO college council, I could say that they'll be supporting me, or they will support me.
Was there anything that was at all difficult to sell during the campaign?
Honestly, none.
None. Okay.
Honestly, none. Good for me. I think that's somehow like impossible or rare for a bigger position or the biggest position in the student college or council. Na wala kay problem, but I was lucky enough.
Okay. What concerns did you see among your constituents that needs to be given attention?
Southwestern University Phinma with the new administration, like there's a move to improve the school. Of course, there's physical facilities or structures that
even the brand,
the branding and everything. So what affected most sa student natin nga level is the physical structure. So there's ongoing construction changes. So there were problems when it comes to like room assignments.
That's right.
Focus on like study because of the noise.
Correct. Yeah.
There's a change with or like not really non-existent library, but there was a change of library setup because like the bigger library had to be demolished and changed into smaller groups of clusters of libraries. So that's a problem. For the law
still
school,
part of the physical restructuring.
Yes, the law for me on my end, because I have lots of friends in law school, they have problems in going to libraries or they clamor like, asa na itong library when mag-close, because they wanted to like pinanggap mo like the graduate school, the professional programs are like given this like special area that they could read. But by this time, the restructuring of our physical structure, we're going to join sila sa colleges or gamay na lang ilang room.
Yes.
That's why, press, could you help us? So I was able to talk with our VPs, operations and student life. They're working naman. We could not just clamor na, hey, create the room right now. But it's hard. Like,
yes.
It's impossible. We may go to rallies.
These are among the risks,
Yes.
because of the ongoing.
So we could just understand. So what I could only do by that time is just make follow-ups, at the same time make my governors or my constituents understand the situation. This is for the better. Like, for example, we know that when there's road widening, of course there's problem with traffic when it's construction.
But
later on, at the end of the project, it will be the benefit of everybody.
Yes.
What about CNU? What concerns, student concerns, need to be addressed there?
Personally, sir, I think it's more on student empowerment. because students are more inclined in their studies nowadays rather than joining different activities which are actually just for them to be more engaged and to be given more social awareness about what's happening only not inside the premises of the school but also outside the premises of our school. So there is really a great, I mean, normalites are very engaged and also empowered, but there is still a population which needs to be engaged into these kinds of programs and activities.
I think you're talking about the passive population.
Yes.
The students who simply don't care.
Yes, that's
or
right.
the students who say, that's not my job.
Yes, I'm just in school to study,
Yeah,
that's
right.
not anymore.
Yes. Yeah. So, what projects do you have in mind to bring them in and involve them in the activities?
So actually, sir, this is also the activity that we're eyeing on is the Normalite Leaders Academy. So what is Normalite Leaders Academy? This is like a whole year-round event, not really event, but like once a month, we will invite different Normalites in order for them to be engaged in different activities. So we are going
You're talking
basically
about alumni?
No, sir. Undergrads,
Okay,
undergraduate
okay.
students. So we are actually going to engage them into different activities which will hone them, and later on will make them become leaders, because we believe that Normalites, they're not only known or tagged as nanning, as what we all know, we are tagged as nanning, but there's more than being just a Normalite. Normalites should also be empowered, should be very devoted to different activities. So what happens in Normalite activities, Normalite Leaders Academies, we train them and we hone them so that at the end of the year, we are actually having also graduation exercises for them, for these
those who underwent
for these
the
scholars.
academy. Okay.
Yes, we call them scholars. So at the end of the year, they will really be transformed as leaders at once.
That's nice. So, mananing yun, yung mga
Really sad,
normalized.
sir. Really sad,
Okay, let's go a little bit outside of campus. Off camera, we were talking about what advocacies or what areas of concern you feel strongly about. And Joseph shared with us that mental health is one area of concern. Can you please talk about that? Why do you feel strongly about that?
Yeah, we have a good number, as we mentioned earlier, we have a good number of senior high school students. And statistically, or the record shows that these are the group of students or cluster of the age that has issues, or let's just say are prone into like suicidal attempts, bullying, pressures, peer pressures. So they have these problems, or they may be lost at the same time. They're confused on where to go to if they.
This is our transition period.
Yes.
This time.
Yeah, because of changes of maybe of the our culture.
Many things, biological, psychological, everything.
Yes.
At this stage.
So that's why I wanted to create an activity or event for them, so that it's not just answering the issues of those who have these problems, but also teaching our students who can at least early detect that their friends or maybe family members or outside maybe classmates who are struggling or maybe like they have tendencies on how to properly address these issues. Because for example, we cannot really, even psychologists, they could not just say that nanny problem. We have to undergo series of assessments and diagnosis.
And no intervention is universal.
Yes, that's it.
They say that what may work for you may not work for me.
Yes. So we have to address the person at the same time the issues. And as student leaders, the better way to make this happen is to tap professionals, tap experts, and even those persons who have experienced such dilemmas in life. So
and surpass.
Yeah, and surpass. So like survivors, perhaps. A thing. So that's why a month, maybe 2 weeks or 4 weeks from now, one of my plans or activities is to create a mental health awareness, like dealing or having a deeper view on depression and suicidal tendencies. I have invited a personality from Manila to really talk about it. So I hope that, yes, you invited me earlier. I am inviting you and the rest of the school leaders or who are interested to come and
of course
listen. And maybe perhaps we could have exchange of ideas.
Yes, collaboration.
Yes, collaboration. And how to deal and maybe share experiences.
You know what? This is very timely. because the president just signed the Mental Health Act. And actually, if you have read the piece of legislation, well, they're still laying down the IRR or the implementing rules and regulations. But the main law itself, it actually requires academic institutions to be more aggressive in coming up with measures to address mental health concerns. So academic institutions will now have the responsibility to ensure that everyone in the academia will have, positive mental health.
Yes. That's why I'm partnering also with our guidance counselor. Because we, to tell you honestly, even before, we only assess our students into IQ.
Yes.
Only later part we test EQs.
Yes.
So right now it is important to measure the mental health assessment, or how our students gauge on such aspect, because as important as we deal with our physical health, mental health is also very important.
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah. Considering that you are in a very academic environment, the pressure here can take a toll. And if you are in the one component I think that would need to be addressed, and it's nice that students like yourselves are very aggressive on this one, is the removal or our efforts to at least do away with the stigma of mental health. Because when you say manggod these days, many people saying if you are suffering from mental health, it's either buang ka.
Yes.
If you saying I have some problems, it's either buang ka or nagpabuang ka or
discrimination.
There is discrimination, and this is a serious issue. It doesn't have to be the case, and that is one of the reasons why we have several suicide cases these days among the young.
Yes.
And that's alarming. Yeah. What about Anne? What concerns outside of school you feel strongly about?
For me personally, also about fake news. Because
I love that discussion. I love this topic. We love this topic.
Yes. Of course, because with fake news around spreading in our communities, I think there would be no...
Okay. People spreading information that mental health illnesses is just an NOA is
fake news. Yes, that's one of it. So fake news actually has a lot of umbrellas under it. So I think for me personally as a leader, it's very important that we gauge ourselves into what is the real news about, or what is essential news or topics that we should talk about or issues that we should deal with. Because if we are just going to pick up different kinds of information right from a box that has been offered to us anywhere, most especially in our social media accounts. So how can we be able to address and be able to also engage and manage and strengthening communication between one another, so that there will be understanding, essential understanding between and among all of us.
I think the challenge on social media is intelligent conversation.
Yes.
Yes, and how to filter information.
How to filter information, especially that when you are on social media, people are more emotional because social media feeds on emotions.
Yes.
So that's a challenge among the young. What about you, Joseph?
Regarding things?
Yes.
Then for me, it's about filtering at the same time recognizing, identifying the sources. So maybe before I've been to researchers, so my panel members before Google the information to get data or information about our topic on our thesis or whatever. So when they said, this is from Wikipedia, so this is not allowed.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that I wanted to identify.
For the benefit of those watching, why don't they allow information from Wikipedia?
Because it can be edited.
Yeah,
because information can change based on the numbers of the entries. So
anyone.
Anyone.
And
for Wikipedia, it became true because of the number of entries.
Precisely because of that.
Yeah. So when they talk about this lingo, so it would create official lingo.
Yes.
So it's not credible. In other words.
Yes. So that's why I wanted to create or somehow let people identify that if this information came from this source, then you have to double check it.
Yes.
The statistics and things like that. So you have to make intelligent querying or research.
But that's exactly what people don't want to do.
Yeah. Feel na share. Hindi ko na share.
No,
there's an
share.
information. Share na lang.
Pag tinapulan.
Yeah, tinapulan. Because
Yeah.
it suits my inclination.
Yes.
Dili ko
It's
na
my
party
interest.
or this is my interest. I would say yes for this and no for this. So kung no, share. Pero comment na
Yes,
it's
comment.
wrong.
I think that's one of the nuances of social media. If you agree, everything there is fast. Everything there is
Yes.
click of the finger. So we don't want to be bothered by extra effort
Yes.
to verify information. Precisely because we want it fast. Yeah. So how do you? Joseph mentioned, we should be aware of the sources of our information, and we can only do that if we verify where the information is coming from. What about you, Anne? What other steps do you think we can take to be more responsible social media users?
Aside from knowing who are the reliable sources, as what Joseph mentioned, it's very important that we must not take shortcuts, as what you said, sir. So it's very important that we must never be lazy when we read something. So we must read the whole context of it. Because basically...
Don't just read the title.
Yes,
Okay.
because what happens now is, if we read the title and we think, oh, this is in my side, this has the same opinion with me. So what I'm going to do is to share it to everyone else that's on my social media account. So it's very important that we must take things religiously. We must really read and take no shortcuts when it comes to information.
I cannot tell you how many friends I have who simply
Yes.
read on the title, and when I ask them if they read the body, they say they haven't. They make conclusions.
Yes.
And sige lang conclusion, but they make opinions about it just basing on the title.
Bias.
And that's sad.
Yes.
That's sad. Okay, aside from mental health, social media use, what other concerns do you think the youth in general, or let's just say the youth in Cebu City, need to pay close attention to?
Yeah, for one of my projects or activities, I wanted to create an environment which is friendly for our PWDs. We have Southwest University is known to be a medical course or school, so somehow I wanted to teach the students or let the students know how to create an environment good for this or perfect for this PWDs, because we have to identify that or know that they need special attention. So
You're talking about PWD students?
no,
Not
in
necessarily.
general, because
Okay.
later on they'll be business owners.
Alright.
So they have to know on how to create structures which could make be more accessible for PWDs, or create for example, if there's patient who is blind. When you're a nurse not trained to handle this kind of PWDs, do you know how to assess them?
Okay.
No, because even our setup in our hospital don't have this braille and
Are not friendly.
Yeah,
to
even the
PWDs.
not trained individuals who could communicate with the deaf, the mute, or the blind. So that's what I wanted to somehow enlighten them. That we should create we should make our environment friendly for these people.
Yeah.
That's nice. And what other concerns?
Concerns are actually, it's not more of a concern already, because this is already starting that people in Cebu City, most especially the youth, are already aware of this. But there is a need for a more strengthened, gender equal and gender aware. How do I say this? Like more gender equal and like your gender bias free.
Okay.
For anyone in Cebu City. Yes.
Okay.
Once.
Can you be more specific?
For
Give specific
example,
examples. Yeah.
like we must stop the stigma and the discrimination around them.
LGBT.
Yes,
The
because
LGBT community.
yes, the
Okay.
LGBT community,
Well,
LGBTQ community.
June is Pride Month.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's Pride Month. It's starting, but as per my observation, not also everyone is still welcoming them in our community. So I think there is a greater chance to educate people or to make them aware that we must stop discriminating these people, because they're also part of the society. They're a vital part of the society, and they have their they can also showcase their talents.
Okay.
They also have their own opinions and perspective towards anything else. And aside from that, let's stop the discrimination and labeling that they're just nuances or they're just there for us to make fun of, or and so on and so forth. So there is a need to establish a more gender equal community.
Can you believe it? We are already 2018 and we're still talking about equality.
Yes.
And we're a democratic country.
The democratic society. Yeah. Okay, you're a law student, you're an education student. If I may ask questions in line with your fields of interest, what issues about the law you feel strongly about, or any piece of legislation you feel strongly about?
There's a dilemma, or like the commotion in the field of law or legal issues right now when it comes to happening with extrajudicial killing.
Yeah.
It's come to.
Or maybe my question has to be what is the discussion in the law school?
Okay. So to make it more, it's about the basic rule in law is to practice practicing rule of law.
Okay.
Meaning there should be a proper interrogation. Like, yes, you may have your let's say you may have your personal knowledge or facts on your issues. For example, I would like to give example. When you're a judge, then you have these personal issues. Yes, she is a drug dealer. Yet it was not presented, during the case. Then the law says, yes, you may have bias. You cannot practice bias, because what the rule of law says is that she is still entitled to be presumed innocent until proven guilty. So the struggle here is for the lawyers to present which is wrong, or at the same time to present evidences that could either mitigate or aggravate him or her on the said case. So right now, with going back sa kung issue EJK or what, why not make the process like put it in the court rather than making like presumption na guilty ng tao or not guilty ang tao. So yes, that's it.
So a stricter implementation of the laws.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's follow the laws.
The rule of law in the country.
Yes.
What about in education?
Quality access education, sir.
Okay.
Primarily because personally I also love to travel. So I've been to different islands like in Bohol or in Cebu. These islands are remote islands already, Bohol, very far islands. So in urban cities like here, Southwestern, CNU, or other universities as well, we are moving forward towards not only our access and education, but also our physical structures in the school. It's already like moving forward. It's already going on another level. But if we try to see the bigger picture, there are actually more children, or very many children in the Philippines, who needs to have this also
this kind of education.
Yes, this kind of education, equal rights for education. So there's a need for these children not only to be access of also the physical structure, but more on education itself, like what they know, are they updated towards their books and so on and so forth. So
or quality teachers,
yes,
for that matter.
quality teachers.
Yeah,
yes.
That's true. That's a reality that needs to be addressed.
Yes.
You are. Your focus is secondary education.
Yes.
Your course is Bachelor of
Secondary education.
Secondary education. Where do you want to practice when you graduate? I mean, do you plan to go into private schools or public schools? Have you had your practice teach?
Not yet, sir. This incoming 14th.
Incoming 14th.
Yes.
Okay, but you will be having your time to practice teaching in public schools, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Public schools. Of course, I'd go for public schools. Yes, rather than going to private schools, because personally, when I was in elementary and high school, I have already dealt with the private school system. This time, I want to learn more about the public school system and what are really the problems that we are dealing with.
Oh, you will learn a lot about there is a lot to learn.
Yes.
Be careful on what you wish for.
Yes. Be careful on what you wish for.
But that's the challenge for teachers nowadays, to accept what is primarily more essential for their growth, not only as professionals but also as personal, of course, as persons themselves. Yes.
That's true. Okay, you are student leaders, and not just that, you're presidents of your student councils. How do you define leadership? And who do you look up to in the area of service or leadership?
It may sound cliche, but Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Servant leadership. You cannot just aim to be someone. That's why you wanted to be the president. It's not just about the fame. It's not about the power that you get into, but it's about service. Sometimes when you are the president or during activities, you run errands. As in, you're sinot mo what do you want to do. The only time siguro
you do the dirty work.
You do the dirty work. Sometimes, or most of the times, you say no to opening remarks and closing remarks because you look like a mess already.
Yes.
So that's it. Servant leadership.
Go ahead.
One word only: sacrifice. Yes, and the person I look up to is, not to be biased, but it's really my father. So my father is also a teacher.
It's okay, you can be biased. That's your father.
Yes. Actually, for years, my father is a teacher. So, but my father actually graduated as a chemical engineer.
I see.
Yes,
okay.
but
different interests.
Yes.
Like the gentleman behind you.
Yes,
Lots
sir.
of
But
interests.
rather than working in a company, in a high-end company, an established company, he chose to be a teacher himself.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that's the kind of leadership, servant leadership that I also want to imitate and inculcate in me.
So she mentioned, because my next question would have to be, who do you look up to in your fields of interest? She mentioned her father in education. What about you? In law, who do you look up to?
Based on my teacher. Like, I really admire Fiscal Lumanta.
Okay, yeah.
Fiscal Lumanta. Because her
first name?
Lolita.
Okay.
Lolita.
Gingging?
I don't know what's her nickname, but Attorney Fiscal Lumanta, because I really love her dedication to work. She represented the women's department, or the children. At the same time, her dedication to work, because you cannot just, like you mentioned earlier, that it's so amazing that I'm into being as SWU president, at the same time law student. But how much more on her part, being a fiscal or like a prosecutor, city prosecutor, at the same time teach, and she doesn't miss a class. And whenever she has a
Takes
talk,
a lot of discipline.
when she has a talk or maybe an invitation outside the Cebu or needs her time, she makes sure that she will give an extra time or like
makes up for the absence.
So yes, I really admire her for being a teacher at the same time, a practitioner when it comes to law practice.
Okay, so I think this next question would have to be asked, because this is for the benefit of your constituents. What's your advice on balancing extracurricular work and academics? Because you are now the role models in your institutions. What's the best? Is there a secret? How do you balance the two?
Basically, know your priorities. Always know your priorities, but when it comes to knowing your priorities, never forget yourself. And of course, your family too.
Okay.
Yes, you never neglect who were first there for you before you have reached this kind of, let's say, achievement or this kind of position in your life. So there is a need for us to know what are our priorities in order for us to already deal with others. Yes.
I've read this, there's no such thing as time management, only self-management, because you cannot really manage time. There's only 24 hours a day, so it's already given, but somehow how you make yourself being available or focus on the time. As you mentioned, it's about priority, like which you want to prioritize by this time. It may be your school or your activity or being a leader, or maybe your girlfriend, your boyfriend. So you have to make balance out of it, because yes, you may want to become a professional at the end of the 4-year course or degree you have, but try to look at it. After that, do you have a life? Like, you should not forget your friends, you should not forget your family, or you should not forget having social life.
And rest is as important as work.
Yes.
If not more important than work.
Yes. That's a good thing.
And we don't get to realize that until we're so super tired already.
And for me, being in the SSG or creating activity for the student is my rest. Like aside from being academically inclined or studying or reading books, going out or dealing with people, solving problems, it's already my outlet. Being so like being so nerdy or that's relaxation. It's being out of the mind. It's different when you are mentally drained at the same time physically drained. It's different.
Totally, I agree. Okay, one last point. I need you to comment and share your thoughts. They say that indecision or the inability to make decisions is the worst trait of being a leader.
Yes, you have to act now. It may be yes or no, but making an act right now would make a big impact later on. It's not just being perfect or right. It's about making this decision. If you have a wrong decision, then make up for it.
Yes.
Own it, make up for it, and rebuild yourself or get up and make a better decision later on. It's not about being perfect or right. Just make decisions.
No one is anyway.
Yes.
Yes.
Anne, what do you think?
Same with Sir Jason. I think there's
Joseph.
no maybe. I'm sorry, Sir Joseph. So I think there's no maybe when it comes to decision making when you're a leader. It must be only a yes or a no. So when it comes to decision making, you must always be decisive, and you must never be pressured towards what other people are telling you to do or telling you to choose. It must be coming from yourself. Because you yourself knows yourself best. So whatever you decide, you must be accountable to it. You must live up to your words. You must be committed. And of course, you must own it whatever happens.
So whatever decision you will make, you must stand by that decision.
Yes.
Very good. Very nice points to wrap this discussion up. Thank you very much for being here. To the two of you, our guests today, Anne Marian Hudilia, education student and SSU president from Cebu Normal University, and Joseph Christian Hormido, law student, nurse by profession, and what else? In the future, former future lawyer, the SSU president from Southwestern University, Phinma, and we wish you both the best of luck in the year ahead and to all your advocacies and studies. Thank you very much for joining us today. Join us again next time as we continue to talk to student leaders from academic institutions in Cebu City in this Back to School project in the Freeman Conversations. I'm Jobert Ocao, online editor of the Freeman. See you again next time here on the Freeman Conversations.